Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwantner and welcome to Selling Power's Daily Report. Today we continue our conversation with Dr. Kerry Solkowitz. He's the principal of the Boswell Group and we'll talk about the challenges of effective leadership.
It's good to be here with you today.
What are some of the challenges that leaders are facing right now?
Leaders have never been under more scrutiny than they're under today. The scrutiny on leaders is a mixed bag. On the one hand, it highlights their importance, but it also makes it harder for them to do their jobs because scrutiny is inhibiting. And I think leaders these days are really struggling with that tension between the importance of their role and all the factors externally that impinge on their ability to fulfill it.
What comes to my mind is Rudy Giuliani and how well he rose to the challenge after 9/11. And the big question is whether he can replicate that leadership ability in a different arena.
It's a great example to begin this discussion because it highlights one of the important aspects of the phenomenon of leadership, and that is that leadership is situational. He was, many people would agree, the right person for that particular and extraordinary time in our history. Since then, we haven't heard that much from him, maybe quite a bit more to come. But running for president and being president is different than overseeing New York at a time of acute crisis.
So you're almost making an analogy between a one-song band and a symphony orchestra that has many songs in their repertoire.
We'll see. We haven't heard the whole album.
So why is it that the tenure of leaders is continually shrinking in Fortune 500 companies? We also looked at a survey recently that the average tenure of a chief sales officer is 19 months. What are some of the underlying causes that shortens their lifespan at the top?
Well, I think it's related to the scrutiny that I was alluding to earlier. One of the offshoots of the scrutiny is that they get a lot more blame. So when results are not so good, the leader is often the first to go. That may or may not be fair, but that's what's happening.
How should leaders become more open to that situation where they know there's greater pressure on them, there's a greater need to perform at peak performance levels? What can they do to rise to their challenge?
One of the things that I've thought about in this context, and you see it with CEOs all the time, that they have to rise to this challenge, and the ones who do and the ones who have greater longevity at high levels of performance are the ones who have a either innate or learned appreciation of the multiple roles that they play as leaders. The effective head of a sales organization has some ability to manage multiple relationships and to make the subtle shifts in role that are necessary when going from managing the salespeople to managing the CEO, to managing the vendors. Flexibility of personality is one of the important factors. The other one that I'd mention right now is people ask me, well, what's the single most important factor in choosing a CEO or in determining a successful CEO? It's their interpersonal abilities, their ability to connect on an emotional level with people, whoever the people are in the different stakeholder groups. And those who do tend to last longer.
And this is not a skill that can be learned?
For the most part, I would agree with you that you either have it or you don't. Some people can enhance those skills, can smooth out some of the rough edges if they aren't too rough. But there are also some people who I'd probably say most people can't do much about. I mean, the whole leadership coaching industry, which is, not sure if it's an industry or a movement at this point, but it's enormous and growing, is based on the assumption that leadership behaviors can change. I think there's some illusions about that, frankly, but around the edges, people can get better.
And we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Solkowitz. Tune in tomorrow.